Rahman woke before the first light touched the horizon. The air felt cool and slightly damp, carrying the familiar scent of wet soil. He stepped outside his wooden house, listening to the soft chorus of crickets fading as dawn approached. His field stretched far into the distance, a wide green carpet swaying gently in the breeze. Everything appeared peaceful, yet something inside him felt strangely uneasy. He walked along the narrow path between the rice plots. Each step made a soft squishing sound under his feet. Birds called from the nearby trees, but their voices sounded unusually faint. Rahman paused for a moment. A shiver ran across the back of his neck, even though the morning was warm. He felt as if someone watched him from far beyond the tall stalks of rice. He continued walking slowly. The wind brushed against the crops, creating soft waves of motion. He inhaled deeply, trying to calm the stirring fear inside him. The scent of the fields felt different today, heavier, almost as if something hidden lay beneath the surface. A nervous tightness settled in his chest. Rahman reached the old section of the land. This part of the field had always grown better than the rest. Villagers often asked him why his harvest came out greener and fuller every season. Rahman never had an answer. He simply worked hard, or at least that was what he believed until this moment. A sudden rustling sound rose from the deeper part of the field. The stalks shifted faster than the wind could push them. Rahman froze where he stood. His heartbeat thudded loudly in his ears. The movement continued, circling slowly around him. He stepped backward. The mud swallowed his heel with a quiet gulping sound. His hands trembled slightly as he gripped the strap of his water container. The rustling grew louder. The air felt heavier, almost pressing against his skin. Then he saw it. A patch of rice near the center of the field glowed with a strange pale light. The light pulsed gently, like the heartbeat of something alive. Rahman stared with wide eyes, unable to look away. His breath felt trapped in his throat. He moved closer, each step cautious and slow. The glow spread along the stalks, turning the green leaves into shimmering silver. A soft buzzing sound filled the air, rising and falling like a whispered chant. Rahman felt a sudden chill crawl up his spine. His hands felt numb. As he reached the glowing patch, the buzzing shifted into something deeper. It sounded almost like a voice. A low hum, a steady rhythm, a call from beneath the earth. Rahman knelt down. The soil beneath the glowing stalks looked dark, almost black. It seemed to breathe, lifting gently with each pulse of light. A faint vibration moved through the ground, rising into his fingertips. He felt sweat gather on his forehead despite the morning breeze. He reached out to touch the nearest glowing leaf. The moment his fingers brushed it, the light flashed once. The ground beneath him shifted. A sharp crack echoed through the field. The soil opened slightly under his knee. A strange warmth rose from below. Rahman pulled his hand back. The light intensified. The buzzing grew louder. The soil pushed upward as if something inside it tried to escape. He stumbled backward, breath shaking. The glowing patch expanded rapidly, spreading through the rows of rice like fire across dry grass. The hum deepened into a heavy, rhythmic throb. Rahman felt the ground tremble beneath his feet. Fear twisted tightly in his stomach. Something began to emerge from the soil. A faint outline, a shape he could not yet understand. The field around him grew silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Rahman fixed his gaze on the dark opening in the earth, his heartbeat trembling inside his chest. The shape continued to rise. Slowly, grain by grain. He felt the hair on his arms stand straight. The air around him thickened, almost impossible to breathe. A cold realization crept through his mind. The secret of his perfect harvest was about to reveal itself. And it was nothing he had ever imagined. The shape continued to rise from the trembling soil. Rahman stood frozen, unable to take even a single step backward. His breath felt shallow. His throat felt dry as dust. Every instinct inside him screamed to run, yet his legs refused to move. The earth cracked wider. Clumps of wet soil rolled aside, exposing something smooth beneath the surface. Its surface reflected the pale morning light. It shimmered like polished stone. Rahman swallowed hard, his heart beating painfully against his ribs. He leaned forward slightly, trying to understand what he saw. It looked like a curved shell at first glance. A strange, silver shell that pulsed along with the glowing rice. Small lines shifted across it, forming patterns that resembled veins. A humming vibration moved through the air, growing quicker with every passing second. Rahman felt his fingers tremble. The glowing rice swayed around him, although the air remained still. The pulse of light matched the rhythm in his ears. Faster, louder. Then the shell shifted. A thin crack formed across its center. Light spilled through the line like liquid gold. The crack widened, splitting the shell slowly but steadily. The sound of breaking stone mixed with the deep hum. Rahman stumbled backward, finally regaining control of his legs. Mud splashed up his ankles. His breathing turned uneven and rapid. The shell opened wider. Inside, something dark and slender moved. It uncoiled slowly, like a creature waking from a long sleep. The movement felt deliberate, almost graceful. Rahman's eyes widened until they stung. His heartbeat hammered inside his ears. He felt the ground shifting again beneath his feet. The creature lifted its head first. Its surface shone like wet obsidian. Thin lines of silver light ran across its skin, forming delicate patterns that moved like flowing water. It had no visible eyes, yet Rahman felt its attention fixed on him. A heavy weight pressed against his chest, making it difficult to breathe. The creature rose higher from the soil. Its long, smooth body curved with a slow, quiet motion. It stood taller than Rahman within seconds. The glowing rice bent toward it, as if drawn by an invisible force. The hum in the air deepened into a heavy throb that rattled Rahman's bones. He wanted to run. He wanted to shout for help. But no sound left his lips. The creature's presence held him in place. His fear grew thicker, tightening around him like unseen vines. Then the creature shifted its head. A ripple ran across its body. The patterns of silver light began to change, forming shapes that looked almost like symbols. Rahman stared helplessly. He felt a strange tingling sensation spreading through his fingertips. The creature lowered itself slightly. The hum softened into a steady, quiet rhythm. The ground stilled beneath Rahman's feet. A gentle warmth spread through the air, replacing the earlier cold. The creature extended a part of its body toward the rice. The glowing stalks bent forward, as if greeting it. The creature touched the rice gently. The light from the crops intensified, flooding the entire patch with a bright, shimmering glow. Rahman shielded his eyes with his hand. The brightness felt almost blinding. When the light softened again, the rice looked transformed. Its grains had grown larger. The stalks stood firmer. Their color had shifted into a deep, vibrant gold. They swayed slowly, glowing with an otherworldly beauty. Rahman stared in disbelief. His heart thudded painfully inside his chest. He realized this creature had lived beneath his fields for years. It had watched his crops. It had nourished them. His perfect harvest had never been the result of hard work alone. Something else had been here with him all along. Something ancient. Something powerful. Something that chose to remain hidden. Rahman stepped forward cautiously. His footsteps felt heavy and uncertain. He felt drawn toward the glowing golden rice. The warmth in the air wrapped gently around him, easing some of his fear. The creature shifted slightly, its body moving with graceful ease. For a brief moment, Rahman felt a strange sense of connection. A quiet moment of understanding. As if the creature tried to communicate without words. As if it wanted him to trust it. As if it wanted him to know its presence was not meant to harm. But before he could move any closer, the ground trembled again. The creature turned its head sharply toward the horizon. The silver lines across its body flickered like disturbed water. The hum rose to a warning tone. Rahman felt a sharp jolt of fear. The creature slid back toward the opening in the earth. Its movements became quick and tense. The golden rice dimmed slightly as it pulled away. The wind returned, sweeping across the field in a sudden rush. Rahman stumbled back as the soil began to shift once more. The creature lowered itself into the deep crack. Its glowing patterns faded into darkness. The shell-like structure around it closed again, sealing the entrance. The hum softened, sinking deeper into the earth until it vanished completely. The ground settled as if nothing had happened. Rahman stood alone in the middle of his trembling fields. His chest rose and fell in uneven breaths. His legs felt weak, threatening to collapse beneath him. The field around him lay silent. Only the glowing patch of golden rice remained as proof of what he had witnessed. The wind brushed gently against his face. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with a shaking hand. His heart still beat quickly, but the fear began to fade. A heavy curiosity settled in its place. A question he could not ignore. The creature had reacted as if sensing danger. It had retreated in haste. Something had disturbed it. Something had frightened even that powerful hidden being. Rahman lifted his gaze toward the horizon. The sky, once bright with morning light, now carried a strange darkness near the distant trees. A cold shiver ran down his spine. His hands curled tightly at his sides. A sharp uneasiness spread across his chest. He stared at the dark horizon, breath tight and trembling. The secret of his field was no longer just beneath the soil. Something else was coming, something that even the hidden creature feared. Rahman stood quietly, watching the distant darkness shift like a slow-moving shadow. The wind pressed against the tall rice stalks, bending them in uneasy waves. A faint rumble echoed across the field, so soft that it almost blended with the sound of the swaying crops. Rahman's breath tightened. The earlier fear returned, but this time he refused to step back. He took one steady breath, then another. The warmth of the golden rice beside him calmed the trembling in his hands. Its glow felt gentle, almost protective, as if the creature had left a parting gift. Rahman reached out and touched one of the shining grains. The moment his fingers brushed the rice, a soft pulse of light spread across the field. The glow flowed through the stalks like a calm ripple across water. It traveled outward in all directions, drifting far into the distance until it reached the edge of the dark horizon. The shadow paused. The strange rumble faded into silence. A soft breeze lifted the rice leaves, carrying the golden glow like drifting sparks. Rahman watched them rise, float, and dissolve into the air. A gentle peace settled over the field, pushing away the cold tension that had lingered moments before. The horizon slowly cleared. The darkness receded like fog under sunlight. Rahman released the breath he had been holding. Relief softened his shoulders. A quiet warmth spread through his chest as he looked across the glowing section of his land. He knew now that the creature had never been a threat. It had been a guardian, silently protecting his fields for years. He stepped back toward the path. The sky brightened as morning fully arrived. The air smelled fresh again, filled with the familiar scent of young rice and damp soil. The village in the distance began to stir as people woke and prepared for the day. Everything felt normal, yet nothing was the same anymore. Rahman paused at the edge of the glowing patch. He knelt down, letting the soft leaves brush against his hands. He whispered a quiet thank you, unsure if the creature could still hear him. The golden rice swayed gently, as if answering. A small, peaceful smile touched his lips. He rose to his feet and walked back toward his home. His steps felt lighter, his mind calmer. Behind him, the field shimmered quietly in the morning sun. It carried its secret once more, hidden beneath the earth. Rahman knew that he would never speak of what he had seen. Some secrets were meant to be protected, not exposed. And some guardians were meant to remain unseen. He reached the wooden door of his house and looked back one final time. The golden rice glowed softly, swaying in a gentle rhythm. It felt like a silent promise. A reassurance that his land would remain safe. A reminder that he was never truly alone in his fields. With a calm heart and steady breath, Rahman stepped inside. The day would begin like any other. But the memory of the hidden guardian would stay with him forever. And the secret in the fields, known by no one else, would remain safely buried beneath the earth.